Yes, y'all is the one and only. Get up.
Wow! All right, where my girls at? Wow! I am so honored to be here with you today in my home state of Texas. You know, when you come to these conferences, you hear a lot of the same things, just told different ways. But I'm going to share something with you because, you know, I'm going to keep it real. Can I keep it real with you? Are you having fun? Such a great crowd. I've been seeing all the pictures. You guys are doing great. Now look, I wish someone had some life hacks for me when I started in politics. So I'm going to give you some of what I've learned after being in this game for over a decade. Tommy had some great advice, and I'm going to give you some from my perspective as a black conservative. Okay, look at the lady next to you and say, let's go. All right, today we're going to talk about climate change. Because climate change is the greatest issue of our lifetime. I bet you're like, wait, what is she talking about? Where am I again? All right, look, I'm not talking about the radical, lefty, loony climate change. I'm talking about the climate change that we need right here in the conservative movement. And I said I'm going to be real. Here's a harsh reality. Some of us are getting old, getting a little tired, and we're set in our ways. That's where you young and courageous, energetic women come in. Now, of course, we've had our successes. You know, I am so proud to have been one of the originals back in 2015 to elect the greatest president of our lifetime, Donald J. Trump. And we know who's in the White House now. And we know how he got there. But that's exactly why we're here, because that should have never have happened. It shouldn't even be close. And when I travel all over the country, people always say, how is it that every time we take one step forward, it seems like we go 10 steps backwards, and we're running out of time? My answer is usually, then get off the sidelines. And you always get this weird look in their faces, because it's so frustrating for me, especially when you have the same people who keep voting for the same career, all talk, no action politicians who make promises during campaign season, and then suddenly they're going to uphold the Constitution and defend your rights. You know, it kind of reminds me of seeing that boy you like and then having to lower your standards to get him. And then thinking that you can change him or fix him after you get married. Doesn't work that way. We're going to have that issue in Texas with Governor Greg Abbott. The moral of the story, don't lower your standards. Now, if you're still with me, say, let's go. All right, here are my 10 life hacks. And you can use them in everyday life, in relationships, in your career, but most importantly, throughout your entire life. Life hack number 1. Know thyself. Get to know who you are, get to know what you love, and pursue your dreams. Not what society expects from you, but what you want. That is the #1 priority you should have as young women today. Don't strive to be the next Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Strive to be the best version of you, and you will see that not only will you veer off of the path of others, but you will begin to create a trail of your own. Leave your mistakes in the past, learn and grow from them. And as you move throughout life, you will see your purpose unfold. If you're still with me, say, let's go.
Let's go.
Life hack #2, accountability. Failure to implement life hack #1 is your responsibility, and yours alone. Whether you encounter a deception, a friend lets you down, a boss hurts your feelings, you face a disappointment or a perceived failure, own it and make the necessary changes. Maybe you have to put in a boundary, maybe you have to create some space, but it's all on you, sister. Life hack #3, you can't change people, but if you change yourself, people change. And that is a fact, so don't lower your standards. Life hack #4, the internet is forever. Look, I do deal in harsh realities, ladies, and we are held to a different standard in our society. I mean, just look at CNN. They just rehired Jeffrey Zoomin Toobin. So just be careful, ladies. Life hack #5, don't read the comments. Trust me on this. Do not read the comments. For the preservation of your own sanity, don't read the comments, because the reality is what other people have to say about you doesn't matter. Go back to life hack #1. If you're still with me, say, let's go.
Let's go.
Life hack #6. This is a good one. Politicians are people, and people will let you down. Do I need to say that again? Politicians are people, and people will let you down. Period. Yes, my sister over there in the back. All right, don't waste your energy fighting harder for someone who's not fighting for themselves. You cannot win it for them. Wish someone had told me that 10 years ago. You have to protect your own strength and your own integrity along the way. Life hack #7, don't watch the news unless you have to be on it. Again, it's about preserving your mental faculty here, because politics is weaponized. You have the fake news, corporate media, and censorship and false narratives. Protect your minds from this. It's all designed to throw you off track. You can either choose to participate in the chaos or be a solution to the chaos. Refer to life hack #1. Y'all ready for number 8? All right, life hack #8. The echo chamber grows personalities, not the movement. Let that sink in. We are so confident because we are right and we have the truth on our side. But if you ever wonder why we can't seem to get ahead or bring in others to the movement, it's because we can't get outside the echo chamber. We have to acknowledge that people who we want to get it the most, the people who need to get it the most, can't even hear us. That's because they're just human beings. I mean, I know that's debatable in some cases, but let's just assume generally we're all the same. And it means they have their own life experiences. They've had their own personalities. They've had their own, setbacks. So everyone is perceiving their life through a different filter. And therefore, when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with a psychology. So we can get up here and we can rant and rave and throw red meat out to you all day, but the movement sits stagnant. So we have to go into these communities. We have to develop these relationships. And when you're out there debating with your peers, or some of you in the cases of your colleagues, one of the questions I receive a lot is, what am I supposed to do when I'm talking to someone and it's like I'm talking to a brick wall and all they want to do is complain and rant and scream at you and tell you that I'm a racist, a sexist, and homophobic? You know what I tell young people? It's very simple. Go to Google and type in ways to disarm a narcissist. Pick your top 5 favorites and you will disarm these people every single time because it's all psychology. Now look, there is a little caveat to life hack number 3. And that is, people, you can't change people. But if you change, people change. But here's what I want you to do. Since you're so young and you're ready to get out there, when you do engage these snowflakes, these whiny babies that are always complaining, don't look at them as your opponent. Look at them as a tool for your success. Use them as mirrors, reflecting back to you where your weaknesses are in your arguments, to know where you need to go and find more knowledge about the issues and sharpen your debate skills. So use them as tools for your success. If you're still with me, say, let's go.
Let's go.
Life hack number 9. People don't want the truth. They want to be right. I'll say it again. People don't want the truth. They want to be right. That is the power of the algorithm. Confirmation bias is the key. And that is what has been driving the insanity that we're seeing all across our country. It's just psychology, folks. They feed it to the masses 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through their devices, whether it's Google, Facebook, Twitter, Hollywood, the corporate media. This is how they get the masses to fundamentally believe and accept things like the Russia collusion hoax, things like the unimpeachable Ukrainian phone call, things like Joe Biden winning 80 million votes, which is probably the greatest hoax of our lifetime. But this is how they do it, and this is what you're going to be up against. And finally, you ready for number 10? Finally, know this, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're going through, you are not alone. Every woman that gets on this stage has your back. And always know this, that one person standing in the body of Christ is more powerful than millions combined. So I want everyone in the room, look at the girl next to you, look her in the eye and say, I've got your back. Turn to the other girl, tell her, I got your back. We are so blessed today to have so many young women in this room because you are the future, and I always say you are the cavalry. So I'm just honored to be here with you. So I'm asking you to step into that leadership, step into that role as the future leaders of this country. And now give yourselves an applause for being here today. Now, let me close by telling you a story. It's about a little girl that had the most profound impact on my life. She was only 15 years old. And she is the reason why I continue to do conferences like this, why I fight for the things that I fight for, and basically who has made me aware of things that I was never aware of at your age. And it's so important that I stress that every single decision that you make and that others make, big or small, can change the entire trajectory of your life. But this is how God's plan unfolds. My plan was never God's plan. I had a degree in biology, worked in healthcare for 15 years, and here I am in politics. But that was God's plan. I wasn't aware of it until he said, you're changing. And so these things happen to us under incredible circumstances. Now, the mystic would say it's all synchronistic, and a non-believer would say, oh, it's just a coincidence. But we know better. And it all happens in the most loving way. So those who know me know I'm not your typical black conservative. In fact, I'm quite atypical. But here's why. This teenage girl is the reason why I dedicate so much of my time mentoring other young women who land in my orbit. My office at the campaign was always full of staffers. It was literally the counselor's office. If there was a problem, staff would come into my office, sit on that velvet blue tuft couch, and we would talk it out. And it didn't matter if we were there till 10 o'clock at night. We would get through it. Now back to this little girl, 15 years old. She was so cute. She had red hair, blue eyes, and she was freckled all over. But she was pregnant by a black man. And this was back in the mid-70s. She was her father's firstborn and only daughter. And her parents owned this little grocery store out in the sticks of Texas, right next to a cotton gin. And when her father found out she was pregnant, there was no debate, there was no discussion. He told her that abortion was not an option. The only problem was, back in the mid-70s, Texas didn't have a method to adopt biracial babies. So her father did what most people did back then, is they'd ship their teenage daughter off somewhere for a place for unwed mothers. And in this case, he sent her up north to her grandmother's house. So he demanded that she give her baby up for adoption. And so when she gave birth, and this was the most amazing story when I encountered it, when she gave birth, the nurses made a mistake. They accidentally took her baby in her room for a feeding. You're not supposed to do that when you're giving your baby up for adoption. So here she is, this child holding her child, and she's looking at this baby, and she sees the little fingers and the little toes and touches her soft face and feeds her baby. Then suddenly the nurses realized they made a mistake. So they rushed into her room to remove the baby, but at the same time, her parents were coming in to see her. And guess who else they saw? They saw their little, innocent grandbaby being carried out of the room. So, long story short, this young girl, in the following weeks, changed her mind, and her father drove his family back to Texas. And here I am,